Welcome to Zoe Stories. My girlfriend's revenge plan turned me into a perfect lady. My name is Josh. 28, finance degree, spreadsheets by day, video games by night. Nothing extraordinary. I live in a modest apartment just outside the city. My girlfriend Emma and I have been together for nearly 2 years now, and for the most part things are good. Stable. Predictable. But what she doesn't know, what I've fought so hard to hide, is the secret I keep tucked away in the back of my closet. Literally, when I'm alone, I become someone else. It started small, a curiosity, a dare from my subconscious. One evening, while Emma was away visiting her sister, I found myself staring at a pair of her black sheer pantyhose she'd left folded on our dresser. It wasn't perverse, not at first. It was fascination. The smoothness, the elegance, the transformation that came with just one small piece of clothing. I tried them on, and just like that, Josh faded into the background. That night, I looked in the mirror and saw someone new. Softer. More composed. More alive. I didn't know what to call it back then. This need to escape the hard-edged man I had to be in public and slip into something delicate, something feminine. It was more than clothes. It was freedom. And the name that echoed inside my mind as I painted on mascara and gloss was Jasmine. Jasmine was my secret. My escape. My shame. Emma had no idea, and that's how I wanted it. Not because I didn't trust her, but because I didn't trust myself. What if she laughed? What if she looked at me with disgust? What if she left? Emma is everything I'm not. Outgoing, ambitious, fearless. She works in marketing and owns every room she walks into. High heels don't make her stumble. They make people stare. Her confidence is magnetic, and I often wondered what she saw in someone like me, awkward, cautious, slightly emotionally closed off. Maybe that's why I kept Jasmine hidden. I didn't want her to know I had this fragile part of me, this feminine energy I couldn't explain. A part that longed to be admired, maybe even desired, but only in the shadows. It felt like betrayal, like I was wearing a mask behind her back. But things changed 3 weeks ago. Emma had been acting distant. Nothing major, just a subtle shift in her tone, in the way she looked at me. Less softness, more scrutiny. I asked her if something was wrong, and she said no, but the way she kissed me that night felt different. Like she knew something. And then I found it. An unfamiliar shade of lipstick, not hers, smudged on the inside rim of my coffee mug. I panicked, assuming the worst. Had I been careless? Did she see me dressed up? Did she find the clothes I kept hidden in the shoebox under the bed? I tried to shake it off, but something in the air had changed. She started asking strange questions. Do you ever wish you could be someone else for a day? What do you think makes a woman truly attractive? The questions were subtle, loaded, and terrifying. I felt like I was being baited into revealing something. But I kept lying, even to myself. Then last Friday, she invited me to a fancy dinner party at her office. I told her I didn't feel up to it, said I had a headache, which was a lie. I just couldn't risk being outed by a misplaced glance, an off comment. Emma seemed understanding, but there was something unnerving in her smile. And when she left that evening, she said something strange. Enjoy your night. I've left you a little surprise. When the door closed behind her, I stood frozen. My heart beat faster than it should have. There was something different about her tone, playful, yes, but with an edge. Like she was daring me, testing me. That's when I found the note. It was lying neatly on the bed, folded once, with one word written on the outside. Jasmine. My hands trembled as I opened it. I know. I've known for a while. Tonight is your night. But be careful what you wish for. Love, Emma. My blood turned to ice. I could barely breathe. She knew. She'd known this entire time. Every lie, every moment I thought I was clever, undone in one elegantly written message. I didn't know whether to feel relieved or exposed. But then I saw the box. It was sitting at the foot of the bed, black, sleek, and ominous. Inside, a lavender dress. Satin. Fitted. With heels. Stockings. A full set of makeup. A blonde wig styled just the way I'd imagined in my wildest, secret dreams. Emma had planned this. My knees almost buckled. This wasn't just a gesture. This wasn't acceptance. This was something else. A setup? A trap? A challenge? My fingers grazed the dress. It was real. Everything was real. And I had a decision to make. Do I play along with her twisted little game? Do I become Jasmine? Not in secret, but in the open under her gaze? Or do I walk away? My heart was pounding as I stood in the silence of our bedroom, staring at my reflection. Half Josh, half Jasmine, all fear. I didn't know what Emma's plan was. But something told me this was only the beginning. And she wasn't going to play nice. The night felt surreal, like a dream I wasn't sure I wanted to wake up from. The box sat ominously at the foot of the bed, taunting me with its contents. Lavender satin, shiny heels, and the faint smell of perfume. Everything about it screamed femininity. Everything about it screamed Jasmine. Yet, standing there, I felt a mix of excitement and terror. I knew Emma. If she'd left this for me, there was a reason. It wasn't just a gift. It was a dare. A challenge. A test. And I couldn't escape the feeling that tonight, everything I had kept hidden, every secret, every suppressed desire, was about to be exposed. My fingers shook as I touched the dress. The softness of the fabric felt foreign against my skin. But deep down, there was a thrill too, one I couldn't ignore. A sensation of freedom I'd only ever felt when I was alone in my room, slipping into a different persona. Jasmine wasn't just a name.
She was a part of me.
A part I'd buried under layers of normalcy for so long. But with Emma's challenge, I had no choice but to confront her head-on. I couldn't turn back now. I hesitated for a moment, staring at the dress. My reflection in the mirror flickered like a ghost. Who was I fooling? Would Emma see me differently after tonight? Could she ever look at me as the same person? As I slipped into the dress, the familiar sense of transformation washed over me. The satin clung to my skin, and the soft lace hem grazed my thighs, sending a jolt of electricity through my body. It wasn't just about the clothes. It was about the feeling they gave me. The feeling of becoming someone else. Someone more graceful, more confident, more daring. I picked up the heels and hesitated. They were higher than I was used to. My legs trembled slightly as I put them on, feeling the pressure in my calves. The heels clicked against the hardwood floor, echoing in the quiet of the apartment. For a moment, I couldn't help but smile at the sensation. There was something empowering about it. My posture straightened. My hips swayed with each step. I felt different, powerful. But the transformation wasn't just physical. It was emotional. I couldn't deny the rush, the excitement that flooded through me as I applied the makeup, carefully layering foundation, eyeshadow, and mascara. Each stroke made me feel more and more like the woman I had longed to be, even if only for one night. I looked at my reflection, fully transformed. Jasmine stared back at me, a beautiful woman with soft curls framing my face, glossy lips, and wide eyes. She was everything I'd always wanted to be. Confident, elegant, graceful, perfect. But that feeling of exhilaration was quickly overshadowed by doubt. What was I doing? What if Emma came back and saw me like this? Would she laugh? Would she be disgusted? Would she want to leave me? I paced the room, my mind racing with thoughts of what this could mean for us. The words from the note kept echoing in my head. I know. Had she been waiting for this moment? Was she testing me? Or was this her revenge for something I didn't know? I couldn't shake the unease that clung to me. Emma had always been a force of nature, confident, self-assured, unapologetically herself. I had always admired her for that, even envied it. She could do whatever she wanted, without fear of judgment. She didn't care about what people thought.
But me?
I was terrified. Terrified of losing control. Terrified of what would happen if she found out. If she really found out. I picked up my phone and glanced at the time. She was supposed to be gone for a couple of hours, but I knew she'd be back soon. Her unpredictable schedule made it impossible to ever feel truly safe especially when I was engaging in something as reckless as this. I tried to calm my racing heart, telling myself that it would be fine, that Emma knew what she was doing, that she wouldn't mind, or worse, that she wouldn't care. But deep down, I feared that the moment she saw me in these clothes, in this persona, everything would change. She would see me as something different, something strange, something less. The sound of keys jangling at the front door jolted me out of my thoughts. My stomach dropped.
Emma.
She was home early. I rushed to the mirror, adjusting the dress and smoothing down the hem, trying to look like I hadn't just been caught in the middle of a transformation. I couldn't let her see me like this. Not yet. Not before I figured out what this was all about. I heard the door open and close, followed by her voice calling out from the hallway. "Josh, you here?" I froze. I didn't know what to do. Should I hide? Should I act like everything was normal? But then I realized it was too late for normal. I stepped into the living room, my heels clicking softly with every step. I could feel my pulse thudding in my ears as I walked into the hallway. Emma was standing there, in her work clothes, looking effortlessly chic as always. She glanced at me with a raised eyebrow, her lips curling into a smile. "What's all this?" she asked, her tone playful but sharp. There was a glint in her eye, as though she already knew the answer. I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. My throat felt tight, constricted. I couldn't breathe. I could feel her gaze lingering on me, taking in every inch of my transformation. I had expected her to be angry, disappointed, maybe even disgusted. But what I didn't expect was the sly smile that crept across her face. She knew. She had been waiting for this moment. Emma stepped closer, her eyes scanning me from head to toe. Her gaze wasn't judgmental, though. It was calculating. She was studying me, not with contempt, but with curiosity. "You look," she paused, almost as if choosing her words carefully. "Interesting." My heart pounded in my chest. The silence between us stretched, thick with tension. "What's the deal, Josh?" she asked softly, her voice suddenly more serious. "You've been hiding something from me, and I'm curious to know what it is." I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to explain myself. How could I possibly put this into words? How could I tell her that the man she loved wasn't just Josh, but someone else entirely? Someone who wanted to be more. I trailed off, but Emma held up a hand, stopping me. "Don't worry," she said, her voice low and commanding. "We'll figure this out together." And just like that, I realized that this wasn't just about me anymore. It wasn't just about my secret. Emma was in control now. She was the one calling the shots. This was her game, and I had no choice but to play along. The silence between us thickened, every second stretching as I stood there, unsure how to react. Emma's gaze was fixed on me, but there wasn't the shock or anger I had expected. Instead, there was a spark of something else, curiosity, perhaps even amusement. I felt a wave of shame wash over me. It was a familiar sensation, one I had become all too used to when I allowed myself to step outside the rigid boundaries of who I was supposed to be. But Emma didn't seem disgusted. She wasn't pulling away. She was just studying me. "I didn't think you had it in you," she said finally, her voice soft but filled with an edge of something darker, something calculating. "I always knew you were hiding something, but I never thought it was this." I took a deep breath. My heart was still pounding in my chest, the adrenaline coursing through my veins. I was teetering on the edge of a precipice, my whole world balanced on the razor-thin line between relief and disaster. Was she angry? Or was this her plan all along? Emma stepped closer, her eyes never leaving mine, and I instinctively took a step back, retreating into the living room. I felt the back of my legs hit the couch, and I sank down onto it, my nerves rattling with uncertainty. "I didn't want you to find out like this," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't know how to explain it, how to tell you that this is a part of me." She raised an eyebrow, her lips curling into a small, knowing smile. "I wasn't exactly expecting you to parade around in a dress and makeup," but she paused, taking a step forward and sitting beside me on the couch. "You're not exactly hiding it very well, are you?" My pulse quickened. The way she said it with that faint, amused tone made me wonder if I had underestimated her all along. Had she known? Had she been waiting for this moment to reveal whatever was going on in her mind? I didn't think you'd understand, I continued, my voice cracking slightly. I didn't think you'd accept it. I was afraid you'd leave me. Emma studied me for a moment, her fingers lightly tapping the armrest of the couch as she thought. Do you really think I would leave you over something like this? I don't know. I trailed off, my mind swirling with confusion and fear. It's not just about wearing the clothes. It's about wanting to be someone else. Wanting to be something I'm not, and not knowing how to control it. She gave a soft, understanding smile. I get it, Josh. It's part of who you are. And I'm not going to judge you for it. She leaned in closer, her face softening as she reached out to gently brush my cheek. But I need to know something. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why the secrecy? I swallowed hard, my throat dry. The question hung in the air, and for a long moment, I couldn't find the words. Part of me wanted to come clean, to lay it all out on the table, to confess everything. But another part of me feared the consequences, feared how everything might change once the truth was fully out. I was scared, I finally admitted, my voice shaking. Scared of how you would see me, scared that I would lose you. Emma's expression softened. She shifted closer, her warmth pressing against me, and I found myself relaxing, if only a little. You don't have to be scared of me, she said quietly, her voice tender. But there's something I need to know. What does this mean? For us. I felt a knot tighten in my chest. She wasn't angry. She wasn't disgusted. But she was trying to understand, and that made everything feel more intense. More real. I don't know yet, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I'm still figuring it out. Emma's gaze didn't waver. She leaned back, crossing her arms, and I could see the gears turning in her mind. So, this side of you, the one that enjoys dressing up as a woman, is that something you want to keep hidden? Or is it something you want to explore more? The question hit me like a ton of bricks. Could I explore this side of myself? Could I really allow myself to step into the role of someone else, to live this part of me openly, without shame or fear? I don't know what I want, I said honestly. I just know that when I'm dressed like this, I feel like I'm being true to myself. And I hate that I've been hiding it from you. Emma watched me closely, her expression unreadable. After what felt like an eternity, she finally spoke again, her voice calm and steady. You're not the only one with secrets, Josh. My heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? She smirked, leaning in just a little closer. There's more to this than just you in a dress. I've been keeping a few things from you too. The air shifted in that moment. My pulse picked up again, but this time it wasn't out of fear. It was anticipation. What was she implying? What did she know? What was her game? I knew something was off, she continued, her eyes never leaving mine. I've been watching you, Josh. And I've been waiting for you to admit it. I blinked in confusion. What do you mean? Watching me?
What are you talking about?
Her lips curled into a mysterious smile, and she placed a hand on my thigh, her touch warm against the fabric of the dress. You thought you were keeping secrets from me, but I've always known, always suspected. I swallowed hard, my throat dry, as my mind raced. What the hell was going on? Had she known all along? Was this some kind of elaborate game she had been playing? I don't understand, I said, the words feeling thick in my mouth. You've known? You've been watching me this whole time. Emma nodded slowly. I knew the first time you wore my heels. The first time I caught you stealing my clothes. I knew, Josh. But I didn't push. I wanted to see how long it would take for you to come to me on your own. I felt my stomach drop. She had been watching me this whole time, observing my every move. Everything I had thought I was keeping hidden, she had already figured out. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and yet, in some strange way, I felt a strange sense of relief. At least she wasn't angry. At least she wasn't judging me. But what did this all mean? Why was she waiting for me to admit it? What did Emma want from me? And what was her plan for the two of us going forward? Before I could ask any more questions, she stood up suddenly, a wicked grin spreading across her face. You want to explore this side of yourself, Josh? Well, I think it's time for us to take it to the next level. The air between us crackled with tension. Emma stood there, her eyes gleaming with something I couldn't quite place. Not amusement, not anger, but something far more dangerous. My heart thudded in my chest, a mix of fear and excitement. I had no idea what she was planning, but one thing was clear. Everything was about to change. Sit tight, she said, her voice calm, yet filled with an undertone of authority that sent a shiver down my spine. I think it's time for you to fully understand what you're getting yourself into. Before I could react, she turned on her heel and walked towards the bedroom. My mind raced with possibilities. What did she mean by take it to the next level? Was she going to expose me to the world? Was she going to force me to do something humiliating? The questions swirled in my head like a storm, and before I could come up with any answers, Emma returned, holding a small, velvet box. My breath caught in my throat as she placed it in front of me, her fingers brushing the edges of the box as if she was savoring the moment. This is going to change everything, she said, her voice dropping lower, almost as if she was speaking to herself. I've been planning this for a while, Josh. I've been waiting for you to come to terms with this part of yourself, and now that you have, it's time for you to fully embrace who you are. I stared at the box, my mind still in a fog, unsure of what was happening. What was inside? Was it something that would transform me physically, emotionally, or both? With a slow, deliberate motion, Emma opened the box. Inside was a delicate necklace with a single pendant, a small, shining key. It glimmered in the light, almost as if it held a secret power of its own. My stomach twisted. I didn't know what to make of it. What was this supposed to symbolize? She picked it up and dangled it before me, her eyes never leaving mine. This key, she began, her voice steady, is a symbol of your transformation. It represents your acceptance of this side of you, the side you've kept hidden for so long. It's time to unlock your true potential, Josh. Time to stop hiding. A flood of conflicting emotions hit me all at once. On one hand, I felt a strange sense of liberation, a feeling that I was finally going to be able to step into the life I had always dreamed of. But on the other hand, a sense of dread gnawed at me. What if this was a step too far? What if Emma had more planned than I was ready to handle? She stepped closer, holding the necklace out to me. Put it on. My hands trembled as I reached out for the pendant. I could feel the weight of her gaze on me, as if she were watching to see how I would react. I took the key, and as I slid it over my head, I felt an electric jolt of energy course through me. It was as if something inside me had unlocked, a feeling of empowerment, but also vulnerability. Now, Emma said, her voice low and seductive. You're ready for the next step. I stood up, the feeling of the key resting against my chest oddly comforting, and Emma's gaze intensified. She circled me, her eyes scanning every inch of me, as if she were mentally cataloging every detail. I could feel the heat rising to my cheeks. Every move I made seemed to be under her scrutiny, and it was both thrilling and terrifying. You look beautiful, Josh, Emma said, her voice almost a whisper. But I think it's time to go further. I opened my mouth to say something, but no words came out. I had no idea what she meant. Was she asking me to dress up again? Was she planning something more dramatic? The suspense was suffocating. My heart raced, my palms began to sweat. Emma smiled, and with a quick flick of her wrist, she revealed the final piece of her plan, a stunning, flowing dress, deep red, silky smooth, with intricate lace detailing. It looked like something out of a fairy tale, something I had only seen in my wildest fantasies. This is your next step, Josh, she said, her tone final. Put it on. Let go of everything you've been hiding. This is who you are meant to be. I felt the weight of her words settle over me. There was no turning back. She was forcing me to confront this side of myself, to take a leap I had been avoiding for so long. The transformation was no longer just about clothes or makeup. It was about fully embracing this new version of myself, even if it scared me. I hesitated for a moment, but Emma's gaze never wavered. There was no judgment in her eyes, only something darker, something commanding. I felt a wave of surrender wash over me, and before I knew it, I found myself undressing, my hands moving mechanically as I slipped out of the clothes I had been wearing. The fabric of the dress felt cool against my skin as I pulled it on, the silky texture brushing against my legs. The sensation was surreal. Every part of me wanted to pull back, to stop myself, but I couldn't. It was as if the dress had a power of its own, pulling me into something that felt inevitable. Emma stepped closer, her hands brushing over the lace as she adjusted the dress, her touch almost reverent. "Perfect," she whispered, and the words sent a shiver through me. "You're finally free." But freedom didn't come without its price. I could see it in her eyes now, something darker, something more dangerous. Emma wasn't just helping me explore this side of myself. She was controlling it. She had orchestrated everything, and now I was caught in her web. As I looked at myself in the mirror, seeing the woman staring back at me, I felt a rush of emotions. I was beautiful, powerful, but I was also terrified. This was no longer just about crossdressing. It was about becoming someone else entirely. Someone Emma had created. Someone I wasn't sure I wanted to be. Emma stood behind me, her breath hot against my ear as she spoke softly. "Do you feel it, Josh? Do you feel the power you've been hiding all along?" I nodded slowly, my pulse racing. But as I looked into the mirror, I saw something that made my blood run cold. The key around my neck seemed to glow faintly, and in that moment, I realized that this transformation was not just about my clothes. It was about who I was becoming, and the person I was becoming might not be someone I could control. As the glowing light from the key cast a soft, eerie radiance against the walls of the room, the reflection in the mirror began to blur. My breath caught, my hands trembling as I reached up to touch the pendant around my neck. It felt hot now, as if it were burning me. Was it possible that the transformation was more than just physical? Was it rewiring me in ways I couldn't understand? The weight of the moment pressed down on me. Was this some sort of irreversible shift? My reflection stared back, too composed, too right. For the first time, it felt like I was not pretending. Emma's eyes were fixated on me, watching with a quiet intensity that sent shivers down my spine. She had been the one to orchestrate this moment, and now it seemed like she was enjoying every second of my unraveling. There was no warmth in her gaze anymore, no affection, just a cold, calculated satisfaction. "You look so much better this way, Josh," she said, her voice smooth, almost mocking. "So much more complete." Her words didn't land like praise. They felt like a sentence I hadn't signed up for. The dress clung to my skin, and the makeup I had spent hours carefully applying was still perfect, too perfect. The reality of the situation was sinking in with a weight I hadn't anticipated. I wasn't just playing a part, I was becoming a different person. And worse, Emma seemed to be relishing every second of it. The shift was subtle at first, an innocent request to dress up. But now, it was as if she was turning the screws tighter and tighter, keeping me locked in a role that I hadn't been prepared to fully embrace. "You planned this, didn't you?" My voice cracked slightly as I spoke, the words tasting foreign in my mouth. It was like I was asking for something I didn't even understand myself. Emma's lips curled into a smile that sent a chill down my spine. "Of course I did. You needed this, Josh. You wanted this. I'm just the one helping you find it." I shook my head, a mix of confusion and anger bubbling to the surface.
No.
I didn't. This wasn't what I struggled to put my thoughts into words, but nothing made sense anymore. "Why, Emma? Why are you doing this to me?" Her smile faded as she took a step closer, her voice turning sharp. "Because you never really understood who you were, Josh. You were hiding from yourself, afraid to accept the truth. But now," she reached up to touch my cheek, her fingers cold as they slid across my skin. "Now you'll finally see. You'll finally accept what I've known all along." I could feel her fingers against my skin, a touch that seemed so tender, yet so possessive. She wasn't just manipulating my appearance. She was trying to manipulate my mind, my very identity. A chill ran through me as I looked into her eyes. It wasn't affection I saw anymore, but something darker. Something controlling. She pulled back and looked me over again, as though appraising the finished product. "This isn't about revenge anymore, Josh," she said with an unsettling calmness. "It's about you finally accepting who you were always meant to be. I've just been the guide." The room felt like it was closing in on me. I felt the walls pressing in, my breath shallow. I had never seen Emma like this. She wasn't the loving girlfriend I had thought I knew. She was something else. Someone who knew exactly how to push my buttons, how to turn my insecurities into something far more dangerous. Suddenly, I heard a sound that made my heart jump into my throat. A car door slamming. The sound of tires on gravel. I froze, my blood running cold. Was she back? Had I been so lost in the moment that I hadn't heard her come home? I glanced frantically at Emma, but she just stood there, watching me with that same unsettling smile. She hadn't moved an inch. "Don't worry," she said softly, almost sweetly, as she reached out to adjust the strap of my dress. "I made sure you'd have some time to think about this. Time to process who you are becoming." Time? Think? I had no time. My stomach churned as I turned back toward the window, eyes darting out toward the driveway. The car parked outside was not hers. Who could it be? Before I could say anything, Emma's voice cut through the air, low and almost triumphant. "Oh, I forgot to mention, Josh. I invited someone over." My heart dropped. "Someone? Who?" Emma's smile deepened. "A friend of mine. Someone you should meet. You're going to love her." The blood drained from my face. Who was she talking about? Why would she bring someone into this? Before I could react, the doorbell rang, sharp and loud, the sound echoing in the quiet room. Every muscle in my body froze. The clock was ticking. My mind raced. I had no idea what Emma had planned, but I was caught, dressed, exposed, trapped in a role I wasn't sure I could escape from. Emma walked toward the door with a slow, deliberate step, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. As she reached for the handle, she turned to look at me over her shoulder, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Don't worry," she said, voice dripping with mock sympathy. "It's just a little reality check for you." I stood there, unable to move, as Emma opened the door, revealing a woman standing outside. The woman was tall, elegant, dressed impeccably, her eyes sweeping over me before landing on Emma with a knowing look. "Perfect timing," Emma said, almost smugly, as she turned back to me. "Meet my best friend, Lisa. I think it's time you got a glimpse of what your future could look like." Lisa's eyes flicked to mine, her gaze lingering on the dress, the makeup, the necklace. The complete transformation. A chill ran through me as she smiled, but there was something cold and calculating behind her eyes. "Well," Lisa said, her voice smooth, like silk. "It looks like Emma's really done a number on you, hasn't she?" And just like that, I knew. The stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just about a game anymore. It wasn't just a power trip. This was about taking control of my life, my identity, everything. I stand frozen in front of the mirror, my heart racing as I watch my reflection, a perfect stranger, yet so familiar. The transformation is complete. The tight-fitting dress hugs my body in ways I never thought possible. The makeup enhances features I never imagined could look this feminine. A perfect lady, just as Emma had planned. But the thrill of the change is now mixed with dread as the doorbell rings, piercing through the silence of the apartment. Emma's words echo in my head, a cruel reminder of how much control she has over me. "You're going to learn your lesson, and when you do, you'll be the perfect lady I've always known you could be." My pulse quickens as I adjust the strap of my heel, teetering on the edge of panic. Who's at the door? Is it Emma? What if she's figured it all out? What if she's been watching, waiting for this very moment to catch me in the act? My hands tremble as I grab for my phone, trying to text Emma a quick warning, but the message refuses to come through. The connection feels off. She's somehow unreachable. The doorbell rings again. I can't breathe. The sound of heels clacking from the hallway sends me into a frenzy of uncertainty. Should I hide? Do I answer? A sudden rush of nausea hits me, and I nearly fall, clutching onto the vanity for support. This isn't just about the clothes anymore. It's not about looking perfect or playing dress up. It's about trust. About what Emma has turned me into. Was I ever a real partner to her, or was I always just a pawn in her twisted little revenge plan? The door creaks open slightly, and I hear a voice, her voice, but it's not Emma. It's someone else. A stranger. I swallow hard, my mind racing, unable to make sense of what's happening. Who is this person? What do they want from me? More importantly, how are they going to react when they see me in this dress, this persona that Emma has forced me to wear? I don't have time to think, let alone make any decision. The door fully opens, and I see a pair of unfamiliar eyes staring back at me. The stranger is standing in the doorway, holding a large bag. Their expression is unreadable, but the weight of their gaze sends a chill down my spine. Can I help you? My voice trembles, but I try to steady myself. The stranger's eyes flick over me, clearly taking in every detail. Their silence is deafening, and I feel like I'm suffocating in my own skin. Then, as if sensing my fear, the stranger finally speaks. Emma sent me. She told me to bring you this. My heart skips a beat. Emma sent them? For what? Why didn't she tell me anything about this? I watch as the stranger hands me the bag, and as my fingers brush against the cold fabric inside, I feel a weight settle over me. A new wave of uncertainty washes over me. What does this mean for me now? Am I about to face another layer of Emma's plan? Or has something gone horribly wrong? The stranger steps back, seemingly waiting for something. But before I can process anything, the doorbell rings again. What the hell is going on?